Hey, it's the final stop on the virtual book tour for Bidding Wars. I'll have more readings probably that I'll try doing if I can't get to physical places for some of the other projects I have coming. There's another book that I hope to put out this year that's about space travel. I wrote it before the pandemic. Actually, I started it before Bidding Wars. Um, and it deals a lot with isolation. And so it feels very timely in a weird way. Um, and these two books are kind of my attempt at sci-fi, speculative fiction, whatever you want to call it. The other projects I have are kind of more grounded in kind of quasi autobiographical fiction, I guess. But um, anyhow, I'm going to read from The Stock Turns 5, which represents a shift in the book when stuff start going not so well from Jenny. So this is a section about Jenny and her parents, and it's pretty short compared to the other ones, but it does have this series of unfortunate events, I guess, that start to occur. And though they are oblivious to why these things are happening, um, we know from reading the rest of the book, the pages that come before it, that the deck is definitely being stacked against them. Anyway, the stock turns 5. The letter sat unopened on the dining room table until everyone was home. Steve had come home for lunch, seen that the mail was there, and brought it in from the mailbox. He ate his lunch, glanced at the letter, and then went back to work. Still, he couldn't shake the excitement about what the letter contained. He told himself, it's just kindergarten. It really doesn't matter. It's just kindergarten. However, he was dying to know who his daughter's kindergarten teacher would be. When he saw the school district's return address, he had thought about sending Jenna a message to let her know the letter had come. Maybe, if he had done that, she would have let him open it. No, probably she wouldn't have. She would have said what Steve already knew, that they should wait until everyone was home. Now, here they were. Do you want to open it? Steve asked Jenny. His little girl, already not so little anymore, looked at him. She knew that mail sometimes came for her, but rarely when it wasn't her birthday or Christmas or some other holiday. What was this occasion? The envelope looked longer and narrower than the mail she usually received. Still, she liked opening things. It looked like a bill, she decided, and remembered her parents were always very careful with opening bills. She walked over to the desk on the other side of the room and retrieved the letter opener she had seen her parents use when important letters like this came. Her parents were smiling broadly when she returned with the miniature sword-shaped tool in her hand. This letter says who your teacher will be when you start kindergarten, Jenna said. Miss Kathy? Asked Jenny. No, that's preschool, said Jenna. This is for kindergarten, the new school. Jenny remembered the new school. They had visited a month ago. She had sat in the classroom with other children, some from her preschool, others not, while her parents were in another room. She wasn't sure what they were doing, but Jenny enjoyed playing with these kids in the room and drawing. This school had more art supplies than her preschool did. Steve reached to take the letter opener from his daughter's hand and then stopped himself. Do you need help with that? He asked. He wasn't sure Jenny understood how exciting this was for her parents, and he wanted to speed the process along, but then he remembered the article Jenna had sent him about how it was important to begin teaching consent in simple ways. And one of those ways was to ask permission and to empower children to say no, and to value that no. Jenny shook her head, and then neatly used the letter opener to slice open the top of the envelope. She knew this was called a letter opener because her parents had told her, but she thought it should be called an envelope opener. It would make a lot more sense. Lots of things were confusing like that. From the envelope, she removed a single sheet of paper. She unfolded it, looked at it, and handed it to Jenna. Jenny was pretty sure she could have read some of it, but there was a lot of writing there, and she knew her parents were getting impatient. Jenna read the letter, and then reread the letter, and then she passed the letter to Steve. I don't understand, said Steve, still staring at the letter as if it might suddenly make sense to him. It's the closest school to us. The proximity to that school is part of... No, really, the main reason why we bought this house. Now what? We can call, but I don't think it's going to change the outcome, said Jenna. She hated that this was happening, but she understood how classroom sizes sometimes meant that students got shifted around. Of course, she didn't want it to happen to her daughter. But then again, no one wanted it to happen to their own child. Yet, here it was. Jenna would be going to Houghton Elementary. That's a full 15 minutes from her house, said Steve in frustration. It just doesn't make any sense. Plus, that place is a shithole. He suddenly remembered his daughter was standing there and added, sorry, just in case she happened to notice. Jenny, why don't you go play in your room or find a puzzle? Mom and I need to figure something out. Jenny knew that shithole wasn't a nice thing to say. Shit was just another word for poop, so shithole then was like asshole? She wasn't sure. She'd heard asshole before too, but that was always about somebody, not a place like a school. Jenny worked through the words as she went to find a puzzle featuring the planets of the universe. She's picking up on language already, Steve, said Jenna. You need to watch it. Jenna sighed and then added, and I do too. She laughed a little, trying to lighten the mood. Do you know anything about this Bionica West? Have you heard anything about her before? No, it's just a new name to me, said Jenna. I'll ask around, though. It is just kindergarten. I'm sure she'll be fine. Well, I'm going to call. I want to see what they have to say for themselves, said Steve. Who knows? Maybe it was a mistake. He picked up his phone and began pacing the kitchen as he dialed, and then as he spoke with someone on the other end. Jenna wanted to get out of her work clothes and knew Steve would tell her all about the call when he was done. She walked to her bedroom and stood in front of the dresser. She took off the earrings and opened her jewelry box. Those were the earrings that Steve had given her for her 10th anniversary. She smiled at the memory and placed them next to Jenny's brooch. It was unusual for the center to have any personal belongings for someone as young as Jenny, but the brooch had come with her the day they had adopted her. Jenna ran her finger over the outline of the megaphone, but was startled out of her thoughts when her daughter pulled at her skirt. Is Dad angry? Jenny whispered up to her. No, honey, Jenna said, and picked up her daughter. We're just surprised, that's all. You're going to a new school for kindergarten. The one with the art supplies? Jenny asked. What? Jenna asked. All the art supplies and kids from preschool, clarified Jenny. I'm sure this school has art supplies and kids from preschool too, said Jenna. But this is a different school. Different from preschool and different from that one too. It's called Houghton Elementary, and your new teacher's name is Bionica West. Bionica West, said Jenny. Probably just Mrs. West or Miss West, said Jenna, but we'll find out all about her soon enough, and she'll tell us what to call her. That's it. If you want to read more, obviously grab a copy. Soon you'll be able to find it in the Scott County Library, and you can request it interlibrary loan through Minskew. I think through WorldCat you'll be able to get it also once it's physically in a library somewhere. But check your librarians. They're great sources for that. Obviously, you can buy the book on Amazon. The link will be someplace with this post. And it's also available just about anywhere else online. If you want to support your indie booksellers, IndieBound's a great way to go, and I'll include a link to that also. And thanks so much. Stay tuned. There'll be more, I'm sure.